My name is Dontera Terrell. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today. I know you're in the studio right now.
Hmm. Hmm.
We are going to dive right into it and talk about what excited you the most about joining forces with UBS.
First of all, my dream when I created the Songcraft course was to make it available for free for creatives. And right now they pay a fee, but it's not for me to put in my pocket or to get rich from. It's more about paying for the studio and covering expenses. So that's the only reason I have a fee. So I wanted to partner with somebody who understood and had a heart for creatives and had a heart for people who were passionate about something. And I think UBS, I found that with Wale and with Jacqueline and the whole sports and entertainment branch of UBS. So they said to me, hey, let's partner, let's do one. So now these people are able to come and it's covered and they're able to just show up and be great. And it takes off a lot of that burden. So the partnership is philanthropic, but it's also understanding what people should do when they gain wealth and how they should distribute it back to others and how they should pay it forward. So that to me is the most important part. Obviously, we're talking about financial literacy and we're making sure that everybody is informed of the UBS Bank and how it works. But for me personally, if I can be totally honest, I think the union is more about us giving back, us making sure that young creatives feel heard, feel seen, and that they know that people care about them and want to help them push them towards their dreams.
So you said a lot of great things in that answer. So thank you for that. But I also want to ask you in terms of you're teaching a lot of creators about the songwriting process, production, and everything like that. However, what have the creatives taught you about yourself throughout this whole ordeal?
Oh my gosh, that's probably the most amazing question anybody's ever asked me. First of all, I think more than anything, I'm a teacher first, and I've sold a lot of albums, wrote a lot of songs, had a lot of success in music. But I think when I started to teach, when I started the We Love Music conference in 2016, and I started going around the world teaching people, I realized that I have way more of a vigor. I have way more passion when I'm showing somebody or tapping into their greatness. As a producer, our job is to pull greatness out of people. A lot of people think it means write a song for somebody and they sing it and then you get money. Really, our job is to pull greatness out of them and tap into what makes them amazing. And that's why the ones of us who have done well throughout the years, it's because we understand it's not about us, it's about us finding the greatness in one particular thing, squeezing that greatness out, pointing it out, saying, this is the part, this is your sweet spot. This is where you thrive the most. Why don't you point in this direction? So what I've learned more than anything is, first of all, technique wise, I teach my technique, but I found myself kind of borrowing from different techniques and style from some of the younger writers and some of the older writers that I get in these rooms. Our youngest writer we've ever had in the Songcraft course was 8 years old. And well, I'm gonna say, yeah, 8. My daughter was 8 when she came to the Atlanta Songcraft and she killed it. She came to Miami one at 9. So I think my daughter and another kid named Jojo who flew in from Mexico, he was 8 years old and my daughter was 8. And listen, when I tell you I learned so much from them because there's no rules. If somebody tells you that you can only do this and you've been learning how to do this in your life, you're going to be limited. But if you're an 8-year-old kid and you don't know what you can't do, you kind of just do whatever you feel. And I think sometimes when you don't have any parameters, no boundaries, you just like, I don't know what's right or what's wrong. I'm just gonna do what feels good to me. And I think that was my lesson watching the youngest uh Songcraft students come in and just kind of take over the room with their free spirits.
Wow, that's amazing. And to your point, when you're 8, 9 years old, there's no limits, there's no
Yeah.
ceiling. And
Yeah.
life hasn't hit you, so you're still fearless.
Yeah, yeah. You just nobody told you no yet.
Exactly.
Not in the real way.
Right, exactly. And speaking of, younger audiences and younger generation, looking back, what words of wisdom would you tell young Rico starting out, trying to get placement and get his foot in the door?
Oh, you know what's funny was when I was coming up, I did all of the things that you should do if you want to make it. And I don't want to sound like I had it all figured out because I didn't. But I was getting on the bus every weekend from Tallahassee to Atlanta. I went to FAMU and I would catch the bus every weekend. I had a $750 credit card and I would take $35 one way on the Greyhound, $35 back. And I used that whole 750 just on bus rides to get to Atlanta every weekend. I missed out on the Gorilla Thriller. I missed out on the Kappa Luau. I missed out on all the fun things for that college students do, and I just focused on trying to make it. So I don't want to say there's advice on try to how to make it because I think that I was so driven that I did everything possible and I focused my whole life on how to make it. The one thing I would tell myself is that I thought as long as I was a good person, as long as I worked hard, as long as I was kind to people, nothing bad could happen to me. And that's not true. And what I would tell myself is we walk and we operate by this faith. And I understand I have a Kanye West faith, right? But that faith can sometimes put you in positions where financially you don't it don't make the best out of the situation because you believe in just, well, I'm working hard and I'm good to people and this is and I show up every day and nobody outworks me. But things happen and changes are made in the business and things like that. Blessed enough to say that I was able to recover time and time again through the storms. But if I could tell myself anything, I would say, no, bro, you have to be prepared. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how consistent you are. You have to financially prepare yourself because storms do happen. Things do shift and change. Pandemics do occur. And how do you adjust and deal with that? I would say that would be my advice to myself is say, prepare, put 5 million aside and don't touch it. Don't make this crazy brash investment. Be smart and be wise. Understand what money does and how money works. And that would be the greatest lesson I would give young Rico if I could.
Well, that's great advice, young Rico. So, and let's take a step back. My bad. Hey, fellow Rattler. I'm a graduate.
Oh,
Yes, I'm a
oh
graduate.
wow.
And
That's what's up. I didn't graduate, but I definitely went.
oh yeah, you still a
I
Rattler.
still count. I still
Yes,
count.
yeah,
All
you still count.
right, all right, cool, cool, cool.
So, aside from Rico Love, the Grammy-winning singer, songwriter, and recording artist, tell us something people wouldn't know about you from a quick Google search.
I'm a dad. I have a 14-year-old and a 9-year-old. I'm what they call, I would say, a full-time dad because I co-parent and I keep my kids 7 days on and 7 days off. And actually now my son is in high school, so he's with me full time. And that's the part of my life that I'm most proud of is the father that I am to my children, being a single dad, and being a person who really cares about how my kids see the world and how they develop. That's the thing I'm most passionate about, and everything I do, I really that stands out to me as greatest accomplishment I've ever had as my children. I think if anybody were to Google search me, I don't think they would see that, but that's something that I think is my most greatest accomplishment is my two amazing children.
Well, with you being a father and a storyteller, how are you encouraging or empowering your children to find their own unique voice when it comes to being a storyteller?
Yeah, that's a great question. My daughter 9 years old, and she is an amazing creative. She draws, she sings, she dances, she writes songs. She'll send me voice notes of her melodies and her concepts, and I'm like, she and I will marvel over Olivia Rodrigo lyrics or Sabrina Carpenter, and we just like my daughter, I remember telling her, like, wow, this is so well written. I remember saying this. And then one day we were in the car listening to a Sabrina Carpenter song called Please, Please, Please. And she was like, Dad, this is so well written. And I was just like, she understands, she hears something and she recognizes the greatness in it. So I just kind of helped develop that in her. With my son, he's so gifted and brilliant in the way that he understands and thinks. So my goal for him is to make sure that I help him discover his voice and discover what, because he's so great in so many different things in so many different areas. I'm trying to point him in the direction and he points himself in another direction. But I just want him to feel safe and not feel like dad wants me to do this, so I'm gonna do it. All dad wants you to do is to be great and to do your best and try your best and understand that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And those are the lessons I give my children.
Yes, that individuality. And
Yes, yeah.
we're going to go back to something your daughter said in terms of a song being well written.
Uh-huh.
Now, I read one of your Instagram posts, and you said also, we decided that there would be no cheating with popcorn lyrics and no rushing. So,
Yeah.
what are popcorn lyrics? Describe popcorn lyrics.
Girl, you so fine. I want to make you mine. I love the way you shine. Spend all the time. It's like
Bars.
people
Those
people
are
are cheating. They just try their best, McCoy. They just try to just fit any word in any space without doing the work to make sure that whatever they say is brilliant. When I listen to Imagine by John Lennon, I'm like, this is insane. When I listen to Otis Redding, when I listen to let's even go modern. When I listen to Olivia Rodrigo or Taylor Swift's Anti-Hero, that's genius. It's genius level writing. And I want to be able to challenge people to think and speak and say the things that are most commonly said and felt and heard but in a way that's never been said before. And that's the gift of writing a record, is how do I say the thing that everybody thinks and feel, and how do I say it in a way that they've never heard or felt it before? And that's the key to writing a great song, and not cheating and just saying this rhymes, so I'm gonna say it.
Interesting. Okay. So you mentioned the word key. So what would you say is the key to your staying power in this business?
I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. I ask a lot of questions and I study every single day. I'm tormented because I can never enjoy anything, because everything I watch, I try to figure out why is it great. I don't ever watch anything or look at anything without trying to figure out why is it that I enjoy it. And I look at art, I look at movies. I'm looking at what's that movie with Emma Thompson? Man, it was such a well shot movie. But I was watching this film and I'm like, well, look at how, or Kinds of Kindness. If I don't know if you're familiar with that movie. Kinds of Kindness is a film that came out this year, and it was three different stories. And I tried to understand. If you look at the movie, you understand how it all come together and what the true meaning of it is. Different kinds of kindness. And I couldn't enjoy it the way everybody else was, because I'm looking at the art, I'm looking at the way it was shot, I'm listening to the soundtrack, I'm listening to all these things. So the key to my success, I think, in to be able to have staying power in the business, is that I'm a student first, and I try to understand what makes things great. And I don't believe that I'm the absolute greatest. I just want to be able to write and create so that I can be fit in that, and I can thrive for that greatness. But I feel like I'm always in last place. And that's the key to success, is always feeling like, man, this new song, this new artist, this new writer, this new thing, oh my God, it's so incredible. And being able to embrace their greatness gives me something to thrive for and to push for and to enjoy, and try to figure out how that thing is so great and how I can be as great. So I think that's the key, is not believing that you're the greatest and believing that you're the best. It's more about, I'm gifted and blessed to be able to be in this position that people want to hear what I have to say. I'm gifted that I'm working on the Beyonce songs and I get to send them to her and she gets to hear them. Now, if she sings my songs, great. If she doesn't, okay, it happens. But at least I know I'm in a space where she gets to hear my song. I know she's gonna hear my song when I send it to her tonight. And that is a great space to be in. And I thrive, and I'm humbled for that opportunity. But I know that that doesn't make me the top. It makes me in the game. And being in the game is the best part.
For sure. I was just about to say, I mean, how many people can say, I'm gonna send a song so Beyonce can listen to it?
Right, right, right,
They
right.
don't like actually take the time to listen to it. So, with so many credits under your belt at this stage in your career, what do you look for when it comes to choosing projects or having your brand associated?
Um, things that things that when I listen to a song, I always will be like, man, I wish I wrote that song, right? So when I hear an artist, I think to myself, or a project, like I just did I'm a music supervisor for a show called Black Hamptons. It's on BET, right? And this guy Trey Haley is a director, and I do a lot of his films and his TV shows. And then we just did a show called Family Business New Orleans, and I'm doing the music for that. So I look at the show and I'm like, how can I add value to this? And if I were to hear or watch this, would I want to be involved? If I were to hear this artist sing, would I wish I could do that whole project? So it's things that would I be envious if I weren't on this project? And if I feel that way, then I want to be involved.
So, let's take a step back because you mentioned you were a supervisor. So, for
Mhm.
those who don't know, what is a music supervisor?
First of all, it's such a crazy, cool experience. But a music supervisor, a person who watches the television show or the film, and says, "I'm going to curate the music that feels right in this space. I know that this segue from this scene to this should feel this way. So let's add the right music. Let's pick the right songs. For a lot of these shows, I'm writing and producing all of the songs, all of the music. And then for some, I'm just getting instrumentation and instrumentalists rather to play certain portions and fill in different key points. But I'm learning in this process how it's almost like I treat it as if it's a visual album, and I try to make the songs and the music behind the score cohesive with what's on the screen. The first project I was ever to be involved with was a Sex and the City movie. I wrote the theme song for Sex and the City, the movie, and I remember sitting with Michael Patrick King and him telling me, "Don't ever tell me what's happening in the scene with your lyrics. Let me hear what the scene sounds like to you." And I was like, wow, that's brilliant. So instead of me saying, oh, if somebody walking through the door and I say, she walks through the door, no, I don't need you to do that. We can see that. But what does it sound like when this person walks through the door? And that's what the music should do. And that's what a music supervisor does.
So, it complements each other.
Yes, we curate the music for the actual show or the movie.
And with only a few months left until the new year, what can we expect from Rico Love in bringing 2024 to a close?
What I would really love to do is establish my 2025 on this side of the year, what we're going to be doing with Songcraft, and to kind of like pave a path and touch as many creatives as we can as possible and have an incredible lineup for 2025. So as we close out, I want to make sure that we line up at least 10 to 15 dates of Songcraft around the world and help touch a lot of young people. I really want to touch young people. I want to make sure that we can go into the young community and young teenagers. I want to do something with high schools around the world and go with those kids because it's near and dear to my heart because my son is a freshman in high school. So I want to be able to go and touch them and help them musically. There's not a lot of music programs in the inner city anymore. So I think Songcraft could help bring that to different cities.